This past weekend, I went to the National Museum of Industrial History. As suggested by the name, it is a museum about the industrial history of our nation. The museum is located in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is about 50 minutes away from Central Bucks South. The National Museum of Industrial History just opened in August, so it is pretty new. The museum itself is located in a former electrical service building of the Bethlehem Steel Company. As you enter the museum, you are greeted by the front desk to the left and a steel beam to the right. On the wall behind the steel beam is the famous picture, Lunch Atop a Skyscraper. The steel beam is just like one in the picture, so it's similar dimensions and everything, so you can walk on it or sit on it or whatever, so you can kind of get a feeling for what it was like to be one of those workers on the skyscraper. I mean, obviously, it's not like your story's up, but like you kind of can get a sense for the dimensions. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Um, and then past this entrance area, you walk down a main hall into the large area that makes up the museum and its artifacts. As you go through the museum, you see many different factors of the Industrial Revolution, such as textile, steel, military and naval, and power sources of the time period. So mainly stuff like generators, which were new during this time period. So there's some pretty big ones in there. Um, and I would say that the recommended time to spend in this museum is probably 1 to 2 hours, depending on how in depth you want to look at everything. Um, this museum best applies to College Board Period 6, which is from 1865 to 1898, and Period 7, which is 1890 to 1945. The first thematic learning objective I'm going to answer is Work, Exchange, and Technology 3.0, using the historical thinking skill of interpretation. So before the Industrial Revolution, everything had to be handmade, hand planted, and hand harvested. It's not like we had the machinery to just go out there and mass produce things. So as a result, this made slaves important to southern economies, which thrived on agricultural production of tobacco, cotton, crops like that. And then in the north, you had a lot of local artisans and small shopkeepers that made a living off of other like handmade goods. So the Industrial Revolution was an important turning point in America's history because we see a shift from um, all handmade stuff to mass-produced items, and so this helped our economy. It boosted our economy. It allowed us to export stuff quicker, and we also produce stuff for our own selves. And so, more specific to the location of this museum, the Bethlehem Steel Company employed tens of thousands of people, according to them, or about 50% of Bethlehem's population. Without the Bethlehem Steel Company, all those people in the area would be out of work and not giving money back into the economy, which helped like the workers put money back in the money that they made back into the economy. And then the second thematic learning objective I'm going to answer is America in the World 1.0, using the historical thinking skill of contextualization. So I'm going to focus on the steel part of this museum, and it was America's second largest steel producer. And steel from Bethlehem Steel can be found in a lot of countries. Some of these include America, Liberia, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, Turkey, China, Japan, Romania, Finland, Sweden, and there's a lot more that I could go on and on about. But the main point is that um, our steel from Bethlehem Steel made it into all these different places, and so this kind of like um, it like showed our presence in the world. And so the bigger picture is that leading up to World War I, by producing this steel, we are showing our dominance, showing what we can do, showing that we can produce just as much as the rest of the world. And then it also provided a lot of steel for the war, so that also helped us increase our presence and show that we are a military superpower as well. So without the steel factory here, we wouldn't have been able to do those things, which established our position as a world superpower.